Are we running sweetheart? What's up, guys? It's McKinley Crain here, and today I'm going to be doing my spoiler-free movie review of the movie that I just watched last Friday, which was the 2020 action drama News of the World. So, News of the World is a movie that takes place in the late 1800s. Sometime after the Civil War, shortly after the Civil War ends. And it stars Thomas Hanks as Captain Jefferson, who is like basically like a news like an old timey pre-news reporter, if you know what I mean. Like back before there was television. Apparently people would go around and read newspapers and stuff like that and just tell people news, and like they would go around to certain towns and then they would tell people like the news. And yeah, so basically that was his job. And it co-stars Helena Zengel as Joanna. Anyway, and basically Joanna is is like an 11-year-old girl, I think, who basically lived with Indians for a little while, and then the Indians got killed off. So basically she was stranded, and Captain Jefferson found her, and basically what happens is the authorities decide that the authorities and Captain Jefferson decide that it would be best and safest for her if he were to take her to some of her closest relatives. And so yeah, this movie is basically about Captain Jefferson taking Joanna to those relatives, and the journey that takes place between there. And this movie's also kind of about fighting off pedophiles. Yeah, you heard me right. It actually works. It actually works for this story. My dog. That actually works for this story. So a little big side plot in the story is that there's this group of pedophile dudes that literally try to convince Captain Jefferson to sell Joanna to them, so they can do disgusting stuff to her, if you know what I mean. And of course he declines, but they still follow him, and so that's like a little subplot in this movie. And there are also a couple subplots in this movie about just fighting off his enemies or whatever, just fighting off bad people. Anyway, and it's great. It's a great movie. It's not a perfect movie. Nothing in this movie is perfect, but everything in this movie is great. There's nothing better in this movie. Everything in this movie is great. It's just that nothing in this movie is perfect. Anyway, this movie has great acting. It has a great story. It has great dialogue. It feels very realistic. I love the setting. The setting actually looks like it should. It looks like an old western town, if you know what I mean, back in the 1800s. The costumes in this movie are great. They actually look like 1800s costumes. And I love the chemistry between Joanna and Captain Jefferson. It's great. And I love just Oh, I love all the character chemistry in this movie. It's all great. And I love the acting, and I love the ending to this movie. I love this movie's ending. It was very satisfying. This was just a great movie, and I'm gonna give this movie an 86% out of 100%, which is the equivalent of an A minus. Like, subscribe, turn the notification squad, or return.